DC is finally back, and it's crazy that we will actually get the world's finest in the same year. Both the Batman Part 2 and Superman Man of Tomorrow are both going to get released in 2027, and it's also crazy to think that both movies are also going to begin filming in April 2026, and I'm really happy about this news, man. I really love both movies. I love both franchises. I love the Batman. That movie was peak. That is arguably the best Batman character we have ever gotten in live action movies and live action TV shows, and the Superman movie is arguably the most faithful adaptation for Superman and the wider DC universe. But in light of all of this, I have something to say, and I have been sitting on this thought for months because I have been seeing a lot of people, they want to merge both universes. They want to merge the Batman's universe and they want to merge James Gunn's Superman slash DCU. And honestly, bro, I do not agree with this. I do not want this. I don't want these two universes to merge, and here is the reason why. Now, when you're looking at the Batman universe by Matt Reeves, right? That universe is peak, hands down. The Batman was great. The Penguin was peak, arguably the best live action TV show that DC has ever produced. But I don't want Matt Reeves's vision to be butchered, and I don't want Matt Reeves's characters to be implemented and to be integrated into James Gunn's DCU, because both directors have very different visions. They have different ideologies. They have different ways in adapting these characters. Even though Matt Reeves is not against adding his Batman universe to James Gunn's DCU, I don't want Matt Reeves' vision to be completely nullified, because now he has to share a universe with James Gunn, and I don't want James Gunn to take over elements from Matt Reeves' universe. Basically, he's going to control not only his universe and other universes, but he's going to control Matt Reeves' universe as well. I don't want Matt Reeves' vision to be completely taken over or even half taken over. I want Matt Reeves' full vision to be fulfilled to the fullest. I want his trilogy or any amount of movies he's trying to make with his universe, I want his full vision to be fulfilled, untouched and uninterrupted. Now, talking about the Batman universe, right? That universe is very grounded. That universe has little to no supernatural elements in that universe. Sure, yeah, we did see Magpie. Even though she is not a supernatural character, she is an obscure character from the DC universe. Even though we did see these things, we are also seeing many things that is contradicting what I just said, like Penguin. Now, the Penguin character is arguably the best Penguin character we have seen adapted, even though I do believe that the 1991 Batman Returns Penguin is a little bit better because he's more on the wacky, zany, supernatural side, like how the Penguin is in the comics. But I also want to point out that the Penguin from the Batman Returns movie in 1992 is far more faithful to the source material, because that Penguin uses an umbrella to attack people and to attack Batman, even though his umbrella is not capable of making the Penguin fly in that movie. That Penguin is still far more accurate compared to the Penguin from the Reeves universe, because when you look at the Penguin in the comics, the Penguin has a deformed nose, he has a deformed body structure, he has a deformed body stature. That Penguin looks like a literal walking humanoid type of penguin. Even though he's an actual human, he still looks wacky, he still looks zany. And you're looking at the Reeves Penguin, that Penguin looks like Tony Soprano. He looks like a crime mob boss from The Godfather. He doesn't use wacky machines, wacky contraptions. He doesn't use an umbrella to hit people or to fly. He uses guns, crowbars, and melee weapons. So when you want to implement this Penguin into the DCU, it does not work, because James Gunn's DCU is no known for its wacky, zany characters and elements, and James Gunn's DCU is also known to faithfully adapt characters from the source material for the most part. So we should not be seeing a grounded Penguin in the DCU. I don't want to see a Penguin that doesn't have a long, weird nose, that doesn't have a weird, deformed body stature or body structure. I want to see a Penguin that has these things. I want to see a Penguin that uses an umbrella to fly. I want to see a Penguin that has literal penguin minions. But speaking on the Penguin, right, his name is not Oswald Cobblepot like how his name is supposed to be in the comics. His name is just Oz Cobb, and I really don't like that short abbreviation for the Penguin, and I don't like it because if they're going to integrate Matt Reeves' vision and his universe to the wider DCU, I don't want some nigga named Oz Cobb masquerading as the Penguin. I want Oswald Cobblepot. Give me that wacky, weird, zany name for my DCU. I don't want the DCU to feel grounded in any way, because when you read the comics, when you watch the old DC cartoons, those universes are not grounded. That's what makes the DC universe and the Marvel universe special, because we are supposed to be immersing ourselves in a fictional world, in a fictional fantasy land. We are not supposed to always try to relate to these characters, and we're not supposed to always pair these characters to things that is happening in real life, even though that is good too. You can still relate to that, you can still do that, but you should not make that the primary vision and the primary goal. And when we're talking about these characters from Batman's wider universe and his wider rogues gallery or his supporting characters, every single one of these guys are fantastical in a way. And now that we're still talking about the Reeves universe, right, we're going to talk about the Riddler. Now, the Riddler in the Batman was peak. Catwoman was peak. Jim Gordon was peak. Every character in that universe is peak, but still talking about the Riddler. The Riddler's name also suffers a similar grounded and realistic approach that Matt Reeves is trying to do for his universe, because similar to the Penguin's name change, the Riddler's new name is now Edward Nashton instead of Edward Nygma. And that's just Matt Reeves. He's just trying to ground this universe. He wants this universe to be more realistic. And that's a very stark contrast to James Gunn's vision, because James Gunn, he's going full wacky. He's introducing kaijus, imps, pocket dimensions. He's introducing black holes. He's introducing clones from Superman. He's introducing all of these elements that literally complement the DCU as a whole. When you read the comics, Matt Reeves stated that he'd like to adapt the Mr. Freeze storyline, but he also stated that he'd also strip away a lot of the fantastic elements in order to tell a grounded story. And that really proves my point, because Matt Reeves, he's not willing to go 100% in the fantastical route. And Matt Reeves, it's looking like he's not gonna do that, even though we all know that Batman is not going to have a full equipped glider instantly. But we saw how Matt Reeves treated Batman when he was trying to glide with his cape, or lack thereof. He basically made the Batman use a full body suit, and he basically made it so that it could be realistic. That's not how Batman is. Batman is known for gliding through many buildings with his cape, flapping in the wind, flapping in the skies. Batman is known to be a very fantastical person, and I'm going to be strictly speaking about Batman right now, because Batman should be a fantastical person, just like how every other character in the DCU should be fantastical, because it's obviously not realistic for a man who has no powers, a man who's a billionaire, to keep his secret at bay for a long time, to have all of these equipments, have all of these gadgets, to have all of this money that can fund his nightlife of being a superhero fighting justice. That in itself is not realistic. So just looking at that, just seeing that concept right now completely nullifies any type of hopes of merging these two universe is because I don't want a realistic, grounded DC universe. And I don't want the universe to not have a running theme where some elements are fantastical while some elements are grounded. No, man, you gotta make everything fantastical. Even if you're telling some stories from the GCPD, I expect the officers from the GCPD to investigate a Clayface or a Mr. Freeze type of situation or a Man-Bat situation. All of these characters I listed are fantastical and wacky. And still speaking about Matt Reeves' Batman, you can tell that his Batman is not trained in a lot of forms of martial arts. You can tell that his Batman doesn't know Taekwondo, doesn't know Kung Fu, doesn't know Muay Thai. He doesn't know all of the forms of the martial arts that the Batman in the comics knows, because the Batman in the comics, he knows every single form of martial arts that is known to man, that is known on the earth. He has trained with Tibetan monks in order to prevent psychological breakthroughs in his mind. His mind is even strong enough to withstand the Martian Manhunter's psychological attacks. So that in itself completely proves that Matt Reeves' Batman is not fit for the DCU if the DCU is going in a fantastical route, because the Batman in the comics, that nigga is not human. Even though he is human, that nigga can withstand a lot, and that nigga knows every single form of martial art. Whereas the Batman in the Reeves universe, he only knows some minimal brawling or probably some karate, but he doesn't really know everything. And now Batman, right? He is supposed to be fighting these very weird criminals. Sure, yeah, he can fight grounded people like the Joker. Even the Joker himself is not grounded. The Joker is a weird clown that he likes to pull and he likes to do jokes, but these jokes are very disgusting, very depraved, and he's a very sick man. But he fights people like the Joker, Catwoman sometimes, Harley Quinn, Court of Owls. He fights all these grounded people like Ra's al Ghul, but then Ra's al Ghul in himself is not grounded. This nigga literally bathes in the Lazarus pit. He reincarnates himself every couple of decades. This nigga is basically immortal due to the Lazarus pit. And now I'm not talking about the grounded villains anymore. I'm gonna talk about the fantastic villains in Batman's rogues gallery like Clayface, Man-Bat, Mr. Freeze, Firefly, because even though Firefly is an arsonist at heart, he uses glider wings that can help him to fly, and he can fly long distances. So that's a stark contrast to Matt Reeves' universe. Bane, even some villains that aren't even in his traditional rogues gallery like Solomon Grundy. Batman goes toe-to-toe with these weird, wacky villains, and even as recent as Failsafe, literally Failsafe took on and defeated the Justice League with ease. He defeated Superman twice. So when you're looking at Batman and you want to adapt Batman into the wider DCU, he should not be a grounded person. Batman should be fantastic. He should be wacky. He should be zany. He should be alongside the Justice League, and he should be fighting parademons. He should be fighting Starro. He should be fighting the Royal Flush Gang. Batman should be fighting and even sometimes contributing in defeating all of these wacky characters. You're hearing me say wacky and zany and fantastical. I'm repeating myself because that's the point I'm trying to put across to you guys, that the DCU should be fantastical. It should not be grounded in any form or in any way, man. And now we're still going to be talking about Batman, right? I'm going to talk about Batman's suit, because the Batman suit in Matt Reeves' universe is militaristic. His suit is more grounded. His suit makes sense in his universe. That's why I really like his suit, because in the universe that he is actually featured in, his universe is more grounded. So it makes sense for Batman to wear militaristic type armor. It makes sense for Batman to not have trunks. It makes sense for Batman to not really resemble how he looks like in the comics when you look at both suits. But now we're still talking about Batman. I need to talk about his suit, and I want to talk about how his suit should be adapted in the DCU. His suit should look similar to how David Cornsweet's suit looks. Obviously, do not use the same fabric, do not use the same material, but still use the same vision that was made for David Cornsweet's suit, because Batman's suit should have trunks. That's first and foremost. I'm not going to debate with anyone. Batman's suit should always have trunks. The prime Batman should always wear trunks. That's the first thing I'll get out of the way. The second thing is, when you're looking at the DCU, right, you're going to look at a lot of these characters. And one of these characters, his name is Mr. Terrific. In the Superman movie, Mr. Terrific has no armor. The only quote-unquote armor you could think that he has is the armor that he uses to glide high in the air when he's fighting kaijus, imps, and cloned Superman like Ultraman and the Engineer. That's the only type of armor or militaristic element he has in his suit. Other than that, Mr. Terrific's suit literally is just a jacket and pants and shoes and a mask, and he's going up against imps, kaijus, cloned Superman, Engineer. He's going up against all these people. He's even tackling pocket dimensions. He's tackling a crazy weirdo billionaire named Lex Luthor, who in the next movie is going to get a super suit of his own that resembles the comics. I'm bringing up Mr. Terrific because Batman should resemble that. Batman literally in the comics, he has no armor. He barely wears any armor for his standardized missions alongside the Justice League. Sure, yeah, in space he could wear a space suit that covers his mask, or underwater he wears an armor that protects him from drowning. But other than that, when Batman is facing guys like Bizarro, when he's facing women like Cheetah, Solomon Grundy, he's facing all of these Justice League villains, he's facing the Ultra Humanite, he's facing all of these wacky, zany, unrealistic villains, Batman literally comes there with no armor, wearing trunks. He's literally just wearing spandex. That's what I want in the DCU. The Batman should not have any militaristic armor. We need to throw that stupid bandwagon, and we need to throw that trend, and we need to keep that trend away. I'm tired of seeing Batman in live action movies wearing armor. It's so stupid. We're supposed to be immersing ourselves in these fictional and fake fantasy land type universes. I don't want to see my OG, my GOAT Batman wearing armor, because it just makes me think that, oh shit, yeah, this nigga can get killed easily. Oh yeah, this nigga can have a lot of broken ribs and a lot of broken bones. No, Batman, do you know how many times he gets hit and he gets thrown into a building, or he gets thrown into a window, or he gets thrown into a car, and this nigga gets up, he's still fighting with no armor? That's how Batman is supposed to be. And if you're going to try to merge Matt Reeves' Batman into the DCU, that completely nullifies how cool Batman can be when he's a fantastical character. Now, the last point I want to say is Batman's supporting cast. And we all know that I think Matt Reeves is probably going to try to adapt a Robin, but that's uncertain right now. Now that we have the title called Brave and the Bald, the DCU's Brave and the Bald promotion was featuring Batman and Robin. Brave and the Bald, even though they featured Dick Grayson's Batman and they featured Damian Wayne's Robin, they still featured Batman and Robin. So we need a Batman that has a Robin. Hell, we need a Batman that has multiple Robins, and we need a Batman that had multiple Robins. We need a Batman that mentored Dick Grayson, who will soon become Nightwing. We need a Batman that mentored Jason Todd, who unfortunately should die when the Joker gets his hands on him. We need a Batman that is mentoring Tim Drake when Tim Drake revealed to Batman himself that he knows his identity, and Tim Drake by himself knew who Batman was. We need a Batman that mentored Batgirl, a Batman that is fighting alongside the Huntress. You're seeing a pattern I'm painting. We need a DC universe that has all of these wacky, weird characters that have little to no armor, just fighting criminals. That's what makes these characters special, is because they don't need a suit of armor. They don't need militaristic type weapons or militaristic type jeans or pants. They just need trunks, spandex, and that's it, man. But this video is kind of getting a little bit too long. I just had to make my point across because I'm tired of these merge bros. They always want Reeves' vision and James Gunn's vision to collide. They want to merge these universes, and I am against that, bro. James Gunn, please please do not do that. Thank God that the Clayface sets look different than the Matt Reeves' Batman sets, man. Thank God. But that's the end of the video. What do you guys think about the DCU and Matt Reeves' universe? Let me know. I'm out. Peace.